I don't even know where to start. Okay, so right now, basically, a bunch of people are trying to scale like their web design agency or like AI websites, AI web design agency to $15,000 to $20,000 a month, but they're getting stuck at like five to $10,000 a month right now, and they don't know the people who are teaching them how to build these fucking websites and start these agencies, like these website design agencies, are printing $100,000 from one fucking YouTube video, basically selling their system to you. Think about that. And these aren't just numbers I'm pulling into my ass. I'm going to show you proof here in a second, but they're not running ads or anything. They're not special. They didn't just get like blessed or lucky by the algorithm. This is all very fucking calculated. I'm going to go show you here, everything here. But the reason I bring this up is because I'm friends with the person that runs this backend basically, and he went and made a tweet not too long ago saying that this one YouTube video alone made over $100,000, and this video is doubled in views by now, so probably closer to $200,000. And I know, based on insider information, which I probably can't share in this video, that he has done at least $608,000 from his program in the past 15 months. So I don't know why I'm choosing to show you this, but if you've been trying to like scale your AI web design agency or like AI websites or whatever, and you're capped at like $10,000 a month or around that area, or maybe the business is just volatile, it is not your fault, because everybody making money with these like AI websites are selling their system to beginners. So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna shut my mouth and show you. But the reason I know this is replicable is because I've literally done this for like 13 different fucking channels over the years. So I know this shit is replicable, and it's like, it's not too difficult to do once you actually understand it. I'm gonna go show you everything here that Abu is doing, and we're gonna have super fun. A lot of fun, but like we're going and doing this across niches, not only like with Serge here, but like, you know, for example, Serge is selling his AI agency systems to beginners. He made $51,000 with 2 YouTube videos, basically just selling his AI agency system to beginners after he hit $10,000 a month. And you know, this is the reason why I'm going and paying. Like recently, I went and spent over $10,000 going and acquiring a network and a bunch of SOPs, basically how you can sell these like coaching programs or like systems to beginners, right? And you're probably very familiar with this because, you know, if you've been getting into AI web design agency or anything like that, you've either bought a program which like has a bunch of systems and coaching on like how you can scale this business basically, and so you've literally paid these guys money before, or you've been consuming their content and are currently in their funnel, eventually probably going to pay them. So let me just reveal how this actual industry is making money in the first place, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into it here. But real quick, I wanna show you what nobody has showed you about the space so far, like the dark truth about AI web design agencies, because it's not as pretty as these YouTube guys like to make it seem, okay? And you know, we're gonna go over some stuff here. So basically, what you're doing with an AI web design agency is selling a service. And what these guys are doing on YouTube when they're selling their systems to beginners, like their AI websites, AI agency systems to beginners, is they're selling information. And there's a very, very big difference selling these two, because with one of them, it's super sexy business model to get like to, let's say, $10,000, $15,000 a month. But as you scale, the more headaches you get, the lower your margin get. It's literally like this decaying graph here that you see on the screen. Like this is very, very true. This is what it looks like when you scale an actual agency. So let's do the math on this, right? Let's say you get to $25,000 a month with an AI web design agency. Okay, well, we've got a bunch of different expenses. I'm gonna show you what it looks like to actually scale through each of these levels here in a second. But with information, you actually get paid to scale. So the fulfillment and the business, like the marketing and sales, they work together, like they grow together. One complements the other, whereas with the agency here, it's like they both collide with each other, which is why it seems so hard to scale for you right now. Because when you're at $0 to $10,000 a month, what expenses do you have as an AI agency? Not much, right? So for your COGS, for your fulfillment, what do you have? So you gotta, you know, maybe white label your AI builds, right? Maybe pay some like AI software, Lovable, Replit, etc. Maybe $500 per site to generate you a website. Maybe this takes you like 30 hours of your week, but you gotta put those 30 hours in and to like either a job or some sort of agency anyway. And then for acquisition, what do you got? You get like a couple outreach tools, couple, you know, softwares, Apollo, Instantly AI for sending cold emails, LinkedIn Sales Nav for scraping, stuff like that. That doesn't cost you too much. And then for software stack, I mean, just basic CRM, go high level starter, you know, AI models, ChatGPT Plus, maybe some Claude in there. Domain hosting is very, very cheap as well. And so you can operate at like a good 65 to 70% margin when you're starting out an AI agency, which is what it makes it such a good business model and why so many people are getting into it in the first place. But what they don't tell you about scaling to the next point, because I'm not saying this isn't a good business to get into. That's not the point of this video. I'm saying if you're trying to scale an AI web design agency and you're doing it without having like this bank of info, which I'm going to talk about in a second, on the back end to support the volatility of this, then you might be fucked, or it's just going to be a lot harder than you think. Because when you start scaling from like $10,000 to $25,000 a month, well, your costs are going to go up slightly, right? You're going to have a junior technical VA, maybe out in the third world country. You're going to be paying him at least a grand to a grand and a half a month because you're going to be handling a lot more projects, right? Still $500 per site. At the amount of sites that you have to build for this level of getting to 25K a month, it's going to cost you around like $7,500 a month, still using the same software, Lovable, Replit, etc. And of course, you're still gonna have to put your time in for this. But for the CAC, I mean, same outreach tools, same LinkedIn sales now, but you're also gonna have a lead gen VA, unless you want to be spending all your time grinding in the scraping tools all day, which I assume you don't. And also, this is when you're gonna have to start running into pay ads, because there's only so much outreach you can send on, let's say, Instagram or whatever platform you're reaching out to without getting fucking banned because you're sending so many messages, right? And then there's the software stack. I mean, this adds up a little more over time, and even though the margins are still looking good here, we're still seeing it creep down the more you scale and everything like that. And then if you want to get to $50,000 a month, we're looking at even more, right? Project manager, this is going to be at least $4 to $5 grand a month. This person's going to be communicating with the whole team, not just you, so they need to be speaking good English, which probably means you can't just outsource it to a third world country. You're going to be white labeling your sites, doing all this jazz. That's going to cost you at least $12,500 a month, still using the same software, Lovable, Replit, etc. At this point, you're going to need to hire a closer unless you want to be spending all day on sales calls at like a, let's say 30% close rate, which I don't assume you want to do at this stage. And you're also going to have to scale paid ads in order to get those people on the sales call in the first place. So costs are going to go up. And this is when we really start to see the margins dip down. Now, like, this isn't horrible, but is optimal? No, like with info, I'm going to show you here in a second. It's like, the margins just stay the same. They just stay at like, 75, 70% the whole way. And I'm going to show you why that is. And then when you're scaling to like $100,000 a month, like whole different story here, right? Now we've got to have an ops manager, and now we have a full dev team because we can't just outsource it to people on Upwork anymore, because we literally have to deal with hundreds of communications, or maybe not hundreds, but tens of communications with these devs as well. Even though you're doing the work with AI, and even though it's like sexy, you still have to have people go and audit the code, because AI isn't perfect yet. I bet you're not like prompting it perfect either, so you still have to go do audits, go do those revisions and whatnot. Now you're going to need a setter, because you need someone actually setting the appointments that your closers are going to close. Closers are going to close them as well. You're probably going to have to be scaling pretty aggressive ads at this point, and the software stack is going to keep adding up. And so at this point, it's like, yeah, we're making more money, but at the end of the day, it's just like we keep seeing our margins dip down, just like we see in this graph here. They're literally decaying. So at a certain point, like, it's like, if we look at this point right here, it's like, yeah, technically, are we making more profit? Yeah, but what kind of business do you want to have? Do you want to scale? And would you like the more money you make, the more you keep as well? Or would you like to have like the more money you make, the more expenses, and the less of a margin you have at the end of the day? And we go and look at this, like at this point when we're scaling to like 25K a month, it's like really not a big deal, right? And if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, well, I really only want to scale to $25,000 a month, then maybe this isn't the video for you. But if you actually want to hit those big fucking numbers, and you want to throw your balls on the table, and you really want to make something of yourself, then you're going to be looking at this and be like, oh yeah, like when I get a 25K a month, then it's I'll have good margins. Like, you're going and profiting like 17K from 25K here, so it's looking good. But we go and take a look at like when we scale to 100K a month, and it's like you're profiting $40,000 from $100,000 a month. It's like, what are you going to scale to $1 million a month with your AI web design agency and deal with 50 people from India who you have to communicate to build websites, and like a full team of like, managers and whatnot, like, you know what I mean? So at here, it's like there's a 60K difference, and it's like such a decaying graph the more you go on, because here there's only like, an 8K difference. here you have like 65, 80% cost, but you only taking home like 20 to 35% margins. Like, what kind of business is that? You're on free trial mode at that point. It's like, what's the point of bringing all this money in the door if you're not going to be able to take any of it home? Whereas we go over to info, and the reason guys like Abu here are selling all this info and making all these YouTube videos and stuff like that isn't necessarily because they don't think they can scale a web design agency, but they know how profitable and how much easier on their life it's going to be to make a fuck ton of money online from just selling their system to beginners who want to get into scaling their agency to $10,000 a month rather than actually just doing it, you know what I mean? So we go look at the margins for info. It's like, yeah, obviously the more you spend, the more the more you make, the more you're going to have to spend. But at the end of the day, it's like we go and take a look at $100,000 a month and you're going to profiting $75,000 with a 70 to 80% profit margin. I mean, it's like incomparable. We're still going and taking the same margin when we're at $25,000 a month, but this is a business you can actually scale long term. And the reason why is because when we're scaling a $0 to $10,000 a month, it's like, yeah, most of our CAC is in the acquisition, because for our COGS we really just need to film a couple YouTube videos. Probably going to have an ops manager or copywriter scripting them out for you anyway, so it's really not super time consuming. And then in order to actually acquire a client, I mean, maybe you just record a couple YouTube videos, a couple VSLs, maybe spend $500 in video editing, maybe not even, because video editing doesn't really grant any returns when you're filming YouTube videos. Have a setter set your calls at 5%, commission-based closer at 10%. Maybe you got the standard version of Go High Level. I mean, right now you're operating at like 80, 85% with info. But as you start to scale, you'll see it's like the only thing that really starts to scale is a little bit of your time here, since you have to take a little bit more coaching calls. But these people already like you. These people look up to you, and they're already like super fans of you. So it's like you're able to chop it up with these people, and you enjoy the people you work with a lot more as well in info. And with acquisition and CAC and everything like that, it's like you're only spending still 2 hours a week, because the leverage in filming YouTube videos isn't in filming more, it's how good you are at them, which is why people pay people like me, for example, because I'm cracked at YouTube. And $500 a month for video editing, again, you don't need to record more in order to make more money from YouTube. Same deal structure, commission-based setters are getting 5% of the deals, closers getting 10% of the deals, still same software stack here. So we're literally at the same margin, and really the only cost we're seeing here is some acquisition cost. What is that at the end of the day? And then as we scale up, it's still the same amount. You get to leverage the deliverables that you're giving away to your students and everything like that, whether you want to switch to one-on-one coaching to group coaching and whatnot, so you're able to leverage that. For acquisition, it's still the exact same, but maybe from $25,000 to $50,000 a month, this is where all the info businesses will usually go and place a sales manager or an operational manager in their team to basically take care of all the back end stuff for them. So, this is someone like me who's going to go and install the automations, tracking KPIs and reporting, team management, email and SMS sequences, funnel builds, recruitment, fulfillment systems. I mean, I can't count the amount of people that I've reached out to who are like, oh, I don't need a sales manager, and then once they start hitting those big numbers and everything, they're like, all right, dude, let's just hop on a call. Like, I don't want to be dealing with this back end shit. I just want to record YouTube videos and help my students. You know what I mean? So, and then you still got the same pretty much deal. You got the setters taking 5%, closers taking 10%, maybe a few more software stacks, got to run Zapier for the back end, and you're still operating at a 65 to 70% margin here. But if we go and scale to 100K per month, we're at around the same margin with everything here, right? So it's like with when you're selling a service, this is what the bottleneck is. The bottleneck is in the fulfillment, because the only thing that's stopping you, or at least making it a headache to scale, is what you're delivering, because you're delivering your time and effort. Maybe not your time and effort, but like as a business owner, your team's time and effort. And so you need to organize that. That's obviously not going to be cheap as well. But when you're delivering information, you're not delivering like your service. Like, people don't care whether you deliver, 10 hours of your time or 1 hour of your time a week in info. As long as your shit works and it makes some money, it's like, it's not a really big thing to them. And so the bottleneck was removed by the model itself. It's just like however much you scale, it's not really going to make a big difference. And when we go take a look at the logistics of this as well, it's like when you're selling a service to business owners, they're going to value your service a lot more than just information you can give them. Like they're not really going to take consulting unless you're like absolutely good at building like this building release offer, for example. But businesses are going to value your time and speed a lot more than information. When you're selling to the general public, for example, they're going to value a lot more of your information because they value a lot more of their money and stability. Think about it, right? Business owners don't really give a shit about how much money they can throw away if they can make it back, but what they do care about is how much time they can save and how much speed, how fast they can get the result. Whereas with the general public, they're a little bit more skeptical about how much time they can save and how fast things can happen, but they're a lot more protective of their money and building something stable for themselves, which is going to be able to maintain them long term. And that's where you can deliver information at the end of the day, because a service won't get that done. Services are for people who need to save time and energy and a bunch of knowledge and whatnot on you going and placing stuff in their agency or their business to work instantly. But when people are consuming information, it's not as instant, and it has to take them a lot of time in order to understand and learn the information and go out and apply it themselves. But they get to save a lot more of their money, and it's much more stable for them since they don't have an agency going and doing it for them. They know how to do it themselves, and so they feel a lot more stable, and there's a lot more value in that for them. Does that make sense? Which is the reason why you see all these guys and like everybody in the space right now going and also the great thing about AI web design agency as well is like every video that is being made on this topic right now on YouTube is popping off if it's actually a good video and they actually have a good team behind it. Like for example, like let's take a look at this channel. It's like they're getting a couple hundred views per video, but as soon as they make a video about AI web design agency, their videos are popping. And when videos are popping, it means there's a lot of demand in the niche. So there's a lot of people wanting solutions, not knowing how to scale their AI web design agency, which is why everybody in this niche is printing right now. We can go see it with this guy as well, like low views, or like not low views, but like, not very high views. But as soon as he starts making videos on like vibe coding and websites and building AI websites and whatnot, he's going and cranking a fuck ton of traffic, which he can go sell to. And same with this guy, couple hundred views. As soon as he makes a video about AI website design agency right now, he's popping right now because it's literally at like the peak. If you go and search on Google Trends, it's literally like peaking. I should have added a screenshot here, but I don't know what I didn't. And not only this, but like when you sell information in your space as well, and you're trying to scale your AI agency, it's like you get this 2-in-1 effect where not only do the AI web design agency clients that you're going and reaching out to on Instagram or whatnot, they're not just going to take a look at you, they're also going to take a look at your YouTube and what you're doing on here. They're going to notice that you're going and helping beginners and making a fuck ton of money with that, and you've literally like positioned yourself as this category king, whereas like agency leads look at your YouTube and now they see you as this category king. They're thinking to themselves like, this isn't just some kid trying to make money, you know what I mean? This is like an actual leader who has built 2 6 and 7 figure businesses serving guys like me. His agency makes $12K a month. His service must work for other business owners because other business owners are buying into this. And when it comes to the coaching thing, it's like when they took a look at your agency, because your agency is working now because the people that you're reaching out to see you as a category king. Well, now they're thinking, okay, well, throughout my journey watching him, I've seen him scale his web design agency from $12K a month to $25K a month. This business must work. He's showing me real new clients he's signing with his business every single week. This has to work for me too. And so it's like both 2 and 2. And not only this, but I like to call this the bank of info as well, because info, like I said before, is a very high profit margin business and a very low time consuming business, which means you can kind of just do it on the side if you want with your agency. And let's say your agency is fluctuating throughout the months and you want to be able to have like a bank of something to hold back on in case you have to, pull out some extra expenses for the agency. I'm not saying shut down like your web design agency. I'm just saying a lot of people that are doing info right now are doing this info so that they can have like the bank of info for their safety net when they're running their agency, so they can keep it a lot more sustainable on the back end. But let me go ahead and show you how guys like Abu are actually going and running their YouTube channels and running the back end as well. in order to actually make this money, right? Because a lot of people are printing with this YouTube stuff right now. I mean, you don't have to go and get like 27,000 subscribers on my other channel like I did. You don't have to do that. You can do this with a fairly small channel. Like for example, my client Ollie here made 21 grand from a video that has 180 views by selling his cold email system to beginners, just because it was structured in a proper fee to sell. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he demonstrated a lot of authority in this video, so he was able to do that. Kirk was able to make $22,000 cash collected from this one video doing the same thing, selling her cold email system to beginners. And this is only a 2-minute video, didn't take her very long to do. Kind of just started compounding over time and whatnot. So let me show you how specifically like people like Abu are doing this and making $608,000 in like 15 months selling his AI web design strategy for beginners. So you can kind of take this and steal it and replicate it and whatnot. So the first thing you want to do when you're going and scaling a business like this is define your ICP, just the same as you would with your AI web design agency. So you're going in and thinking like who has pain, who we can help with. I know this looks a little bit messier because it's used for a context profile. This is actually my client Serge's offer, so I should probably maybe blur some stuff in here, I'm not sure. But basically for Serge, for example, like we niche exactly who, so we're going after 18 to 28 year olds, occasionally up to 44, in US, Canada, and high GDP European countries as well, since he's from Europe, Germany, Switzerland, Norway, and Netherlands, earning below $5,000 a month in a 9-to-5 or apprenticeship, and actively looking for a way out, right? And the painful problem, they've just been watching YouTube videos, buying courses, building websites, building logos, and registering companies for months, sometimes even years, but they have zero client revenue. They're burning savings, running out of time, and getting more humiliated by the day. The core wound, they know something is deeply wrong with their life, but they have no clear path out, right? Think of it. Maybe they've told their parents, maybe they've told their friends that they're really going to make it work with this online business stuff, and they're trying, but it's not really working. Well, it's the same with AI web design agency, where it's like you probably have tons of people who want to even get to the position you are at right now. And right now you're being kind of ignorant because you're not helping these people when you could be making a lot of money off these people and helping those people at the same time, getting to the exact place that you're at right now, right? Next question you have to ask yourself is how fast can you promise these outcomes? So building timeframes, right? Can they do it in 90 days? Can they do it in 180 days? You want to get very specific on this as well, because if they don't know how fast they can do it, this is one of the core key variables in Alex Hormozi's value equation. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't go and hit that, then they're not going to really foresee a future in this, because it's not specific enough to kind of like, attract them, you know what I mean? So you want to make this time frame sound super sexy. It's concrete framing and everything like that. Like in the first 7 days, you're going to do this. In the first 30 days, you'll be able to sign your first client. After 90 days, you should be at 20K a month. And then after 6 months, you should be at $50,000 a month, just like we did here. And then the last question, the last question you have to ask yourself is, what unique mechanism are you using to help them achieve their goals? So for example, Boo here probably has another unique mechanism to the next guy and the next guy. Everybody has their own system and own way of scaling their AI agency or their AI web design agency. And so it's important that you clearly define like what the unique selling proposition of the way you're doing and scaling your AI web design agency is, so that people can clearly differentiate you from you or your competitor. Because for example, they might have a lot more trust or a lot more perceived likelihood of achievement from one mechanism rather than the other, which is going to be your unique selling proposition, if that makes sense. And what you want to do is save this data in a context profile somewhere, whether it's like in a Claude project file or just in a Notion file here, and you can access the file in like Drive folders, for example, here. But you want to save this data, because obviously this data is no good if you can't go and chuck it into AI later and you don't know how to use these as context profiles. No really reason for you to map this out unless you're going to actually use it in your marketing and sales and whatnot. But the next thing you want to do is go and build out your compensation architecture. So it's not going to be the same for every AI web design agency, coaching program, or academy or anything like that. But the way we did it for Serge, for example, or the way Serge's program is kind of built out, is that his ticket price is $11,600. So that's how we're pitching it on the call. But they only have to pay $5,800 up front, and then $5,800 on an incentive on the back end. So once they hit $20,000 a month as well. And this does two huge things, right? Number one, this is a huge value anchor. When we say $11,600 on the call, and then after that, we're saying, hey, you only have to pay $5,800 up front. Obviously, this is a huge anchor. And then once we mention the fact as well, that we're going to be going and taking 5.8K when they hit 20K as well. It's instilling the belief and the belief that they're going to hit 20K from us while we're pitching the product, to get them already in solution and dream outcome aware while we're literally pitching the price of the product, which is absolutely key in sales as well. And obviously this frames you as like high level. It's not just like a course or some program. Like, this is very, very one-to-one high level solutions that we're giving away here, and this price tag frames that. And then obviously it's like, if they took a look at this 11.6K price tag, they know you're only collecting half of that before they hit 20K a month. They know that you're now incentivized to help them hit 25K a month or 20K a month with their agency. And so this is going to allow them to have a lot more perceived likelihood of achievement in your program and have a lot more trust in it, because you're not getting paid unless they do at the end of the day. And so it's kind of this like 2-in-1 compensation model where we have this premium frame here. We have zero resistance triggered by the same sentence, and we're going and shifting a lot of psychological things in the sales process that could give us an extra edge over our competitors. And obviously, like, we have this all detailed out here in a context profile as well. Next, how to actually generate buyers. So let's say you want to scale this AI web design agency, and maybe you've been posting a little bit, maybe you haven't been posting at all, but you want to actually get in the posting so that you can actually start selling to these type of people. Well, you're probably going to need to follow this to generate buyers that you're going to launch to and actually get to buy your high ticket product first before you go and launch your high ticket product, or otherwise nobody's going to buy. So this is the content priming phase. I do it pretty much all my clients who are kind of in the stage, and let me walk you through it, because there's a couple things that you need to be careful of here, right? So the point of this first section of like content priming, it's usually around 20 to 30 days, is to establish authority with your brand, show proof of your brand, establish your unique mechanism as well. And it's kind of just like the building lead generation phase. The same way you would generate leads in like an AI web design agency, you're just doing this through inbounds, through social media, through YouTube is the best way, because you're just going to build the best trust with YouTube and whatnot. But what you want to do here is record 75% of your content, which is top of funnel, 25% middle of funnel. Don't quite touch bottom of funnel quite yet until the launch, which we'll talk about in a second. You want to be throwing tons of community posts out, basically building your authority, building your desire around your solution, and introducing your unique mechanism. What you also want to do is build like a free community. So you're going to establish tons of rapport here, right? You've got nothing to sell yet, but you're basically just pre-qualifying your leads, making sure the leads you're generating through your marketing on YouTube are actually qualified for when you do launch your offer. Like, here's a private community I saw here not too long ago, and I went and took a screenshot of it so I could use it in this video. But you can do this on Discord, you can do this on WAP, but basically you just want to have like some sort of chat where your free viewers can go and interact and talk about scaling, AI web design agencies and whatnot. And also you want to be having email sequences for the people that opt into this. You're obviously going to collect their email, send it to an email sequence so that you're constantly indoctrinating them with stuff they need to hear before you go and launch a program. After the 20 to 30 days, once you've generated some leads, once your YouTube videos are actually starting to get traffic, you want to move to the launch phase, because this is where you're actually going to start going and collecting your first cash from this, right? So what you're going to want to do is apply the Zeigarnik effect, and I'm going to go over this launch strategy in a second. It's actually cracked for launching high-ticket programs. It works like a charm, but basically you're just applying the Zeigarnik effect, which is what Hollywood uses basically for memory and getting people to actually care about stuff. So you're going to use scarcity and urgency and like a non-salesy way to capture your first clients. So this is where you're going to go and make your cash for the first time. The primary objective with your launch here is to just collect as much data as possible so that you can continue to market to these people long term and validate your offer to know that your offer actually works for the market. Also, you're going to use this Whisper Tease launch strategy, which I'm going to show you here is absolutely cracked. We ran it for clients, and you're basically going to open your cart for $37,000 a month for one-on-one mentorship, get people to fill out a wait list. I'm going to show you this in a second, but for example, one of our clients, we got like 1,200 submissions for the wait list, and it's like basically all data on every pain they're having, their names, how old they are, how much money they have saved up, etc. So we have tons of data on them. And then after this, once you launch and go launch for like 50, 100 grand a month or whatever, you're going to go and turn that launch system into an evergreen system so that you can continue selling to this ICP in an evergreen way that's basically just like up all the time, so you don't have to continue like relaunching or whatever. So you're basically just going to double down on the successful data from the launch, deploy an evergreen system, and continue pumping traffic until enough capital is stacked to start phase 2. So this could be through evergreen webinars, this could be through VSL funnels, etc. But what I want to go over here is how to actually get your first clients to buy, which I want to be clear about. This was invented by my licensing partner and mentor, Jace England. So shout out to Jace. He's an absolute beast and created this. So I've been using this for a few clients. I can't quite show you what clients because we have an NDA with them, but I'm going to go show you how this basically works. So first thing you're going to do is go take from your organic traffic. So if you've been filming reels, or if you've just been doing YouTube, basically where your leads are right now, or if you want to implement as well some meta retargeting ads, or do both. You can do just organic, or you can do just ads with this. It works for both ways. But basically what you're going to do is do this like whisper tease waitlist launch strategy. So you're basically just going to do exactly what I just said, get them onto a waitlist, get them to invite it to the Telegram, daily nurture. Setters are going to go do some like qualifications. You're going to do some non-response handling as well. So you're going to go and be sending those SMS, those emails to indoctrinate them even more. Do direct Telegram CTAs to like Telegram, or like the free group you have, basically urgency SMS. In here, you're going to basically from day 8 to 9 or 8 to 10, you're going to give a live announcement of what you're actually doing. So you're going to be like, hey guys, like, you know, I have this thing coming. But let me be very clear with the whisper phase as well. So these are day 1 to 7. You're going to be like very, very broad about what you're actually doing with this, like, you know, waitlist launch thing. So you're going to be like, something big is coming. Like, don't miss this date. We've been working on something huge behind the scenes. Waitlist open soon. Get in or get out March 20th or whenever you're launching, March 20th. Don't miss it, etc. But here you're actually going and announcing like on day like 8 to 10, like, hey, we're launching a high ticket program. Make sure you don't miss this date, March 20th, etc., etc. Once you get this date, last days from day 11 to 13, you're going to be getting the final people in the waitlist, for example, before you close. From the waitlist, you're going to get people to like a live event, and which is a webinar where you're going to get all the people from your waitlist there, and then you're going to launch the basically program live at the end of the webinar, give fast action bonuses to the people who are on the webinar, go and launch it to the rest of your social media after the webinar as well, go and book the people who are interested and get them to fill in an application form. If they're qualified, the setters are going to go set them on the calendar. If they show, you're going to qualify them and you're going to try and close the deal and whatnot. So that is the launch strategy. Is absolutely cooked. I can't go too deep into it right now just because I have to wrap this up here, but here's how an actual high ticket sales funnel occurs. So it starts by watching one of these YouTube videos. In the description, you'll see like a link like this. When you click this link, you'll be shown this landing page here, which will basically just be like, okay, scale your agency to 10K a month, etc. It will prompt you to go fill out an application. From this application, you'll be DQ'd. I can't go over all like the DQs and the application right now just because I have to wrap this up again. But if you answer certain things, like let's say if you put like you have $0 in your bank account, then you're probably going to get DQ'd, which just means to like disqualified. If you're qualified, you have enough money, you have enough pain, etc., you're going to be funneled to a calendar like this, where you can go book an appointment with a team. When they get appointment to their when you go on to book an appointment to their team, it's basically going to enter their CRM, which their setter is going to go use certain setter scripts. For example, we have tons of setter scripts here, personalized or triaged to whatever event or whatever type of person they're reaching out to based on where they're at in the pipeline and stage. Appointment setters are going to reach out, pre-qualify, pre-frame, show commitment, build rapport, and everything like that. Closers are going to go close on the call once the setter actually sets the appointment. Let's say the call is the next day, and closer is going to close and collect that 4 to 7K up front, right? So how long does this actually take to run? Well, the pre-content priming phase usually takes like 30 to 50 days minimum. The post-content priming phase usually takes about like 25 to 30 days. But if you compare that to how long it took you to like get that agency thing down and how long it took you to actually start making money with that compared to this, I mean, like, it's definitely worth it when you go and take a look at, you know, the margins and how much money you can actually make from this. And if you made it this long, you're probably not retarded, so I can just be upfront about what I do. So basically, I'm the ops manager, so I take care of everything, like all the back end, all the CRM, all the recruitment, all the sales managing, even helping you like create the YouTube videos and everything like that. So literally all you have to do is film and help your students, and then in return, I go and take like a rev share in the amount we generate from the launch, so between 10 to 30%, depending on like what you need, where you're at with the business and everything like that. So if you're not retarded and you've actually have results with this, like if you have went and actually gotten results from like an AI web design agency and you can show proof and everything like that, and you want to get into selling these info products, you can go DM me Launch on Instagram. Don't DM me if you're like retarded or you don't have any results, or you're just beginner or whatever. But if you've actually made some money with this model and you want to start creating content, you can go DM me. But other than that, goodbye.